session, Raising the Bar for Mobile Observability. And we're really eager to show you all of the latest innovations that we've been working on here at Luciq. Everything that you're going to see here today is designed to drive value for your mobile teams. And that's mainly by accelerating the developer productivity and optimizing seamless mobile experiences that your customers deserve. Now that we've met the team, I think we've already been through the introductions. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so a quick little bit of housekeeping. Everything you're about to see here is live and integrated into the Luciq platform today. This session is supposed to show you our agentic observability and how it fits your workflows. But please keep in mind that this is just like our vision for the current tools, and it doesn't create any new legal obligations for us. That was just a quick little tidbit. And with that out of the way, let's get into the platform work. Okay, so let's kick it off. When we talk mobile teams, we consistently hear about a fundamental tension between moving fast and being in touch with what your users actually see. You end up moving too fast and your ability to drill down becomes a blur. Most teams, they find themselves stuck in this area where it's like a maintenance trap. And more often than not, it's because of fragmented tooling. Your mobile team is forced to juggle separate tools for like crashes, and another one for performance metrics, and another one for user analytics and behavior. And when your data is siloed like that, it just traps your best engineers in maintenance mode. And rather than letting them build and innovate, they're stuck doing that. There's also the LTAP tax, which we said is like formally known as the context switching toil. Developers are constantly like losing their flow and their focus by switching between their IDE and some browser-based dashboards and other log aggregators that they may have in their tool set. We also see a major gap between what we like to call here at Luciq vanity metrics and reality. So you might have a stellar 99.9% crash-free rate. And while that looks fantastic on paper, it looks fantastic on a deck, those stats actually hide things like UI hangs or unresponsive buttons, or like maybe a breakage in one of your web views that's really driving churn for a critical flow or like a checkout flow. And you think that your app is all fine and dandy, but those silent killers, they're really eating away at your customer metrics. One final thing is that engineers, whether we like it or not, they end up dealing with so much grunt work than we like to admit. Engineering hours are being wasted on manually triaging thousands of duplicate reports and digging through documentation just to get an SDK setup. And we believe that your team's time is way too valuable for manual triaging, which is why we're shifting towards a more automated agentic approach in everything that we do here at Luciq. Okay, so let's talk about how we're bringing this evolution to life. To solve the challenges of fragmentation and manual work, we're moving beyond traditional what we defined agentic mobile observability. Like to move from just show to end. So that's like agents that do instead of just show or tell. The result is, instead of your team juggling fragmented tools, Luciq offers you the ability, since it's mobile native, to like capture the deep device OS and network context that web-based tools often miss. We also strive here at Luciq to like provide signal and not noise. We do that by filtering out distractions so that we're only highlighting the things that matter and the things that are actionable for your mobile teams. Additionally, when we're designing our AI agents, we specifically try to build them so that they're not just giving you more logs to sift through, but to actually connect the dots so that you're surfacing like the root causes instantly. Eliminating the guesswork of like manual triage. And this ends up replacing the vanity metrics that we mentioned before with actual impact. This obviously in practice drives faster fixes and smoother releases. And this translates to better user retention, which affects your revenue, and it also affects your brand reputation as well. So where does this leave us? It leaves us that Luciq is delivering AI-driven answers and not just like some manually set up alerts, so that your team can stop firefighting and move with confidence in the things that matter. Okay, let's move into another theme, and it's the continuous loop of quality. It's something that we care a lot about here at Luciq. As mobile developers and leaders, the goal is always to like narrow the distance between your code and the user experience. And that's by connecting mobile observability directly to resolution and prevention. We've bucketed some of the marquee updates for this webinar into three key pillars that we're going to discuss. The first two pillars here, they're focused on developer productivity. Starting with the first pillar, it's accelerated adoption and governance. We've introduced agentic instrumentation, which allows you to go from something that we've coined as zero to signal in minutes without having to use like SDK docs or like unleash your coding agent to scour through the docs and still not get it right. We've also automated the setup and the team ownership so that you're organized from day one, even if anything changes for you. Moving into pillar two, we've got intelligent resolution. Here we're tackling the context switching issue that we've discussed previously head on. We've got a triage and resolve agent, and those they help you by automatically clustering duplicate reports, whether that's bug reports or crash reports, and surfacing the hidden patterns that cause them from beneath. We've also introduced our MCP server, and that's something that we're really happy about here at Luciq, and it enables IDE integrated debugging. And we realize that that's very important for a lot of devs because it brings observability to where your teams live and work. Finally, the third pillar, we're going to go a little bit outward here, and that's empathetic experience. So we're shifting the focus directly to your customers. You can now see exactly how a user struggled with the introduction of video-like session replay. And our AI, which is the detect agent, it automatically spots the silent killers that we've talked about, like broken functionality and broken flows in the user experience, which are not usually spotted easily or detected, especially when they're corner cases. So now we're doing this proactively while you're out there tackling much, much more bigger problems. All right, so now let's see some of the features that we've talked about in action. Starting with the first pillar of our framework, we've got the zero to signal initiative where we've removed the integration friction that typically stalls mobile projects. The new Luciq way uses agentic instrumentation. You just point your AI agent, whether it's Cursor or Claude, whatever your preference is, at our SDK guide, and it's been finely curated to include all of the necessary guardrails and steps to successfully instrument the SDK, while requesting your input actually on the things that matter to your team. So that's things like masking rules, for example. It auto-fetches the latest version, detects your package manager, and wires everything for you based on your input preferences. The reason why we're loving this is we've seen teams actually go from a blank slate to a bug report in under 10 minutes on several of our POCs recently. Next, we've got the governance updates. As your team grows, we keep you organized with the introduction of one code apps. So if you're running like multiple apps from one code base, you just have to instrument it once with Luciq. We use bundle ID filtering so that you can get a clean, consolidated dashboard without losing the ability to like dig down and isolate a specific issue in a single app. Some of our biggest customers that have several apps spanning their brand portfolio have been loving this new support recently. Then to keep your team aligned without manual overhead, we've also introduced dynamic code ownership enhancements. So now you can sync the rules directly from your GitHub code owners so that alerts actually route and get updated automatically as your repository and team structure changes or grows. Last point is we've removed the repetitive work of setting up new environments by offering the ability to copy alerts and rules. So let's say you have multiple apps or multiple environments on Luciq. You just have to configure your thresholds once and then replicate them across every single environment with one click. So your team stays focused on the code and we'll handle the guardrails. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's showcase the agentic instrumentation really quickly. Here's the video, let me play it. So I'm using Cursor here. I've got a sample repo and I want to integrate the iOS SDK. I just copy the prompt, it's markdown formatted, and then I give it to Cursor. And it has all of the like execution rules and the guardrails that we observe as the SDK team baked in. So the first thing it does, it asks me for a token, I provide it, and then if I do not give it any further input, it just goes with the default save first integration with like all of the masking rules baked in and everything. And then it also detects like the library. It sees what's in the directory. If I have like Swift Package Manager, then that's the one that it goes. It fetches the latest SDK from GitHub to make sure that you're running the most recent SDK version. And then within a couple of minutes, you're done. There's the integration, and then you're prompted to just run Xcode build, for example, if you're running an iOS repo, and it's working. And that's about it. All right.
Super.
Very cool.
First, can you please reshare, because I guess the sharing has stopped.
Okay. Just a second.
Just. Perfect.
Right. Since when has it been out?
No, it's
just now.
Yeah, just.
All right. I can probably run through the video again if it hasn't been there.
I think the video is good. We can skip.
All right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Perfect. All right. So now that we've solved the integration hurdle, let's look at the actual day-to-day work of a mobile dev. We have to deal with a lot of work fixing bugs. And that usually means a lot of like hours digging through logs, trying to figure out why a crash is maybe like only hitting a specific group of users or like a specific device or OS version. And the biggest bottleneck in dev is reproduction. If you can't replicate it, you can't fix it. And you might even start doubting if it's even real. Our AI Crash Insights looks at exactly what the user did, and it writes a reproduction step so that you can see the crash for yourself. This is huge for those silent issues like memory leaks where the stack trace doesn't tell the whole story. We also, at Luciq, want to make sure that you never have to leave your editor to hunt for answers. So we pull all that production context, the stack trace, the metadata, the user's path, all directly into your IDE, and that's with our Luciq MCP. So you can literally just ask Claude or Cursor, what's causing this? And it'll show you the problem and even suggest a fix. So you go from hours just manually searching to reviewing a code fix in minutes. All right, so that's all I have for you. I'm going to be transitioning it over to Ali. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Faris. Okay, so like on the same topic of agents, we have our triage agent. We introduced one of our most important recent updates in bug reporting, which is bug grouping. So let me first start with the problem, and then we could like start the video and explain how it works. So the problem is that imagine you have an issue that is causing a lot of your customers to be frustrated. So let's take an example as if it's a payment issue, and like you're getting hundreds or maybe thousands of reports that is like pointing out the same issue, and everyone like is telling you that there's a problem, but in their own words or in their own description. What we do is that we collect all of those reports under one master or under one parent group, and we show you all the insights that you want to see, like the title of this issue, the summary of this issue, how many people are actually facing this issue, and then we allow you to act only on one report, and this report will reflect on the whole other group. So again, you'll be acting on one issue, you're solving one issue, and you just like forget about triaging and the lots of hours that you spent on triaging just to fix a single issue. So we could play the video here and like show you how it actually works in action.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So here, for example, you have two users. They are facing the same issue, and each one of them is describing it in their own way. Someone here is saying that they have an issue with the cart, and another user with another email, with another device is describing the same issue, but again, they are describing it in their own words. They are not related in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So here, it's just like sending the description. We jump to the dashboard, and we're gonna see that both reports are actually grouped together because again they are pointing out to the same issue. We check here, we'll find the summary of the issue, the title of the issue, where there was something with the shopping cart, and we'll see that our confidence while we're creating this group, how confident are we this group could see like the list of duplicates, and for any reason, if we made any mistake with the grouping, you could just like ungroup the reports that you want, or you could add more manual reports if you want.
That's really cool. So it does it just semantically.
Exactly. It
Very
just like
cool.
understands the logic behind the description of the report and groups them together.
Love that. All right.
Perfect. So jumping into our like second pillar, let's start first with the problem. So here we're talking about like the third pillar, which is episodic experience. This is where like we move beyond cold data and like log blindness to truly understand like the human side of the app experience. The problem here, or like the problem that the customers face, is first one is usually people heavily depend on the crash-free rate or the crash-free sessions. When people focus on this, they think that their application is perfect, that we're performing very well. And it's actually a lie, because there are way beyond this metric that tells you how your app is performing. You could have like UI hangs, you could have like broken UI or a broken text and so on.
Yeah.
Also, people heavily depend on like the log, and like logs could be blind. Like, you could just like see a list of logs. They are not descriptive. It shouldn't like necessarily tell you or like point out that this is the issue. And this is like a big struggle for all mobile developers, that they are blind when it comes to web views.
Yeah.
Because web views is, at the end of the day, it's a web code. It's not any way related to the mobile code. And you have this on your mobile app.
Yeah.
So as a mobile developer, you don't see or you don't understand what's happening on the website that is part of your application. What we introduced here is that we give you like visibility on those web views. I will like talk about the details in a second. Cool. So like before we jump into the demos, if you can go back like the previous step. So let me tell you about the Luciq way to actually fix those problems. So the core like of this pillar is the session replay 2.0. In the past, navigating through like thousands of sessions to find like a specific issue felt like a manual work and manual efforts.
Yeah.
With our new advanced filtering and like color-coded timelines, we have made it possible like to find and understand like the right session in minutes rather than hours. You also get like a video like format that reflects like the real life experience, what the users are actually facing on production. This allows you to like visually follow the user actions leading up to a crash, for example, or leading up to a UI hang, or leading up to a bug report. Also, like we heard a lot from developers that this visual context is like critical aid for reproducing complex bugs in their application. To add another layer on the intelligence, like our detect agent, like we were just talking about the triage agent, like jumping into the detect agent. This agent acts as a proactive set of eyes, identifying silent killers. For example, like unresponsive buttons or visual issues. Those are usually like the issues that are missed by humans during feature testing, like right before you release to production. Also, instead of spending like 10 minutes reading through logs or metadata in session replay just to understand, like say a single session, understand like the context of the session, using the detect agent and that provides the AI session insights. This summarizes like the full context of the user pain in just like 2 lines. We send like all the data about the session, the logs, the screenshots, and everything that the user have faced during the session, just like to give you a glimpse of everything that happens in this session. Finally, I'm thrilled to announce that we expanded our web view support, now supported on iOS and Android SDKs. We know that many of you, like especially in the industries of banking, for example, rely on like web views heavily for critical flows like login or checkout. Previously, this was like, again, as I told you, a black box that you mobile developers don't see what's on with this. So now we have completed the bridge that gaps like user steps and repro steps. Now you can capture like the interaction inside the web view, or like the networks that happen inside the web view. We also show you like the performance of the loading for
screen loading matches.
Exactly, the screen loading for web pages. And definitely, last but not least, we introduce screen rendering, which mainly focus on the slow frames and the frozen frames that happens on your application.
Cool. So I just wanted to dwell on a little point regarding web views.
Sure.
It's actually interesting that we've managed to pull this off using just a single SDK, whereas many other observability tools, they tell you that you have to rely on their mobile SDK as well as their web SDK in tandem. And we do this with just the native SDKs, which reinforces the fact that we're mobile first. Another thing that I wanted to ask you, Sui, regarding the detect agent. So does it actually work like in the background? Do I have to do any setup for it? Or is it just there doing like triaging work on my behalf?
Like one of the most interesting approaches that we have with almost all our agents is that it is configuration free. You don't have to add even like a line of code. For detect agent, the triage agent just like works out of the box on our back end. We get your data, we triage it, we detect the issues, and we tell you everything that we capture. Again, with zero configuration required from the customer side.
So I could just hop in on the dashboard and then it's like doing the work of a whole other developer for me.
Exactly, as easy as this.
Love that. Okay.
Perfect. Let's jump to the demos.
Sure.
Perfect. So let's first demo like the session replay 2.0. Why we call it 2.0? Because we added a lot of enhancements and a lot of re-innovation in this. Here you can see like the list of products, the list of features, and you will see like each feature, each session, whether it's frustrating, whether it's totally satisfying. You're gonna see like the issues that happen inside the session. You can also like filter by a specific hour during any day. Let's say, for example, you got feedback or you got a support issue from one of your customers, even on social media in a specific hour. You want to capture this session in which they had an issue. Then you could just like filter out by the specific hour on the specific day and get this session. Also, as you can see here, we color code everything on the session, like from the timeline, if there was a frustrating experience or a frustrating occurrence that happened, and we link this with the logs, and we link it with the screen shots, and everything like is linked to give you an idea of what happened actually during the session. And also introduce the user attributes. So let's say you want to see the sessions of specific group, let's say people on enterprise plans or people on the self-serve plan. You have the ability to filter by the user attributes that contains only their attribute, which is the plan type.
Interesting. And I just wanted to ask you something. So for the frustrating experiences, what's that? Could it be like a slow loading network request, something like that?
Exactly. It could be like a slow network, a forced restart, maybe a slow app launch or a slow screen loading. So like all the frustration issues that are related to mobile that we already captured on our SDK, we'll show it to you on the session replay.
That's really cool. So it's all one integral experience.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
That's
all
nice.
in the same session on the same time.
Cool. Okay, let's move on.
Perfect. Okay, so again, to our detect agent, here is an example of the visual issues and broken functionalities. As we were saying, just to capture this out of the box, we scan the sessions and we check for visual issues or broken functionalities. And then we show you a list of all those visual issues and broken functionalities. Like visual issues are, again, it could be a broken text, it could be a broken image or a broken like text misalignment, and the broken functionality is something that behaves unexpectedly.
Okay.
And again, we show you the list of those issues, and if you think that any of those are actually considered as a bug or you want to start working on them, just click on the report bug button and it will reflect on the bug
your
reporting.
bug reports.
Exactly. And you could just send it to Jira or forward it to Jira and start working on it with your engineering.
Okay, and these bugs, they're detected on the session level, so they don't like lose out context. Like they're actually based on what is expected for the user throughout an entire flow. It's not just one isolated snapshot, it's like the whole session.
Exactly. Right. It takes the session like from start to end, scan it, checks for visual issues or broken functionalities, and then show it to you out of the box.
Cool. Okay, let's move on.
Another feature in the detect agent is the session insights.
All right, just a sec.
Yeah,
here we go.
Session insights is whenever you are in a session, again, if you want to understand like the context of the session, as I was saying, we provide you color codes. You could go through like the timeline, you could go through the logs and the screenshots to understand and link what happened, how was the user experience, if there was any frustrating issues, or if there was any annoying unexpected behaviors. session insights just give you this in a couple of seconds. So whenever you click on this, it generates everything about the session, whether there was an issue, how was the user experience, and what the user was actually trying to do in this session.
Interesting. So I can kind of get like a little summary of everything that the user went through and all the bumps that they ran into during the session.
Exactly. And if you find out that this is the session that you were looking for, or this session has actually a trouble or it requires the user's attention, then you start digging into it. So this is kind of your starting point. Instead of going again through the session and spending 10 minutes on it, just like in a minute or less, you would see the insights, analyze it, and then decide whether this is the right session or not.
Yeah, so basically we're just giving mobile developers a skim layer for their session experience. All right, cool.
Perfect.
Okay, moving on. Here we've got web views.
Last but definitely not least is the web views. So here is an example for an application that has like a web view for booking a flight.
Yeah.
Again, for mobile developers, this was always like a blind spot. They didn't know what happened. They didn't know what was the user experience, how did the users interact, which parts did they click on the app, or if they actually had a network issue, for example, during the time of the web view. So what we did is we captured everything, every interaction that happened on the web view. We captured the screenshots, we captured the user interaction, and the network failures or the network calls. If again there was a status error, for example, this code error or like slowness, then again we'll be able to see it here.
Yeah.
And since like web views again is a web code, and usually like the web team is responsible for this. As a mobile developer, you might not necessarily take an action on it, but the 100% action that you could take is like at least tell the tell the web developers that there is a specific issue with network X, or there is a bad behavior, or like an issue with the UI, so they could go ahead and fix.
Yeah, we really love web views specifically at Luciq because it's actually like for a lot of big enterprise customers, it's where some of their most critical flows live. So you have things like booking, and you have things like, for example, checkout forms, Stripe checkout forms, and all that. You could actually go crazy thinking, why is my conversion so bad in the funnel? And it's all because of something very, very minutely broken in a web view, but you never had observability on it before. And now we fixed that. So yeah, that's a very interesting development as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
So before we wrap up, like I want to leave you with a few key takeaways of this. At the end of the day, everything we've built comes down to two things. The first thing is make life easier for your devs and better for your users. So as a quick recap, we covered the unified velocity. We've seen today Luciq stops you from juggling silos. Our goal is to collapse the distance between identifying a crash and shipping a fix. Also, we talked about the zero friction workflows. We want to kill the alt tab tax for good. Like between the automated setup and the ID integrations, Luciq meets your team where they already are, and where they already are working. So they don't have to break their focus and like go to another tool or like switch wherever they are working. Also for like the resolution, not just like observation. We are giving you like the tools to find those silent killers, the frozen buttons, the broken workflows, the broken images, the misaligned text that actually hurt your bottom line. It's about the results, not just like pretty shorts.
Yeah.
Also, like we govern at scale. Don't just waste time on manual overhead by like syncing directly to your GitHub structure. The platform handles like who owns what, and like this gives you the full puzzle. So again, like it's about moving fast, staying organized, and shipping with confidence.
That's about it.
Let's do it.
Right.
Okay. So for the last slide, we've covered a lot of ground today, from AI-driven setup to debugging directly in your IDE. But the best way to understand the impact of what we've actually built is to explore it yourself as users. So we invite you to schedule time with our team for a personalized deep dive, and you could definitely follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated with our latest feature highlights and blog updates. You can also find deep dive resources at like luciq.ai dashboard.
Yeah.
Or our technical documents at docs.luciq.ai.
Yeah.